New sump I built for the saltwater aquarium. Let me explain why. Before I show you guys how I built that sump, just a quick announcement. Okay, so I actually have two things I want to mention. One, from June 23rd to the 24th, Reefapalooza in New York is back in town. I'm going to leave a link in the description below so you can get all the information as well as your tickets. The kicker, I'm speaking at it this year, so I cannot wait to meet many of you there. See you soon. The next thing I want to talk about. You guys know I'm Canadian. I live in Canada. Many of my fellow Canadians and even those south of the border wish there was some Canadian events, and I'm excited to tell you that from August 11th and 12th, Reef Expo is hitting Toronto. This is Canada's biggest, most popular freshwater and reef hobbyist convention. And once again, I'm speaking at that one. I cannot wait. This will be my first one in Canada. I'm going to leave links in the description for that as well, so you guys get all the details as well as your tickets. Cannot wait to see you guys. Okay, so I actually built this sump a few weeks ago, but I didn't really film it in the typical way that I would. I didn't even actually think I would be. Let me just show you what I captured. Now, if you're not following me on Instagram, I actually went live to kind of talk about this, and we put it together. However, I thought I hit the record button on this camera, but I didn't. So if you're not following me on Instagram and you don't want to miss these types of things, make sure that you do. Link is in the description. Anyways, you guys will remember these little baffles that I'm using right now. They might look familiar. I've used them countless times on aquariums as lids. These are green panel roofing housing. Indestructible, cheap, see-through. I use them for a lot of my aquariums. But since these baffles aren't going to be under any real pressure, I decided I'm just going to go ahead and use them as baffles here. I know that they look like they're taking up a lot of space, but there's only a couple inches there. The way this works is, oh, another thing about this sump. This is about a 20-gallon, and the media baskets from the original sumps fit perfectly in here, just like this. So that turned out fantastic. So I can literally transfer all of the media from this aquarium and their baskets to the new sump. So water will enter in through the top through a bunch of stacked baskets. It will then pass through what I will most likely use some more biological media. Finally, I have an area for the skimmer. Now that's the whole reason for building this in the first place, was the skimmer. The original sump, which looks just like this, kind of works the same way, whereas water will come through here, go through all of the biological media. It has to rise up over here, which is sort of like a baffle. They technically are baffles. But the last compartment I have houses the pump and skimmer together. Now the skimmer is going to create a bunch of micro bubbles, and the pump's just going to send those micro bubbles up to the main aquarium. So I need those separated. So skimmer here, and what these baffle walls are going to do is, one of these walls is 8 inches. That's where the water level is going to be. And it's siliconed at the bottom. I just siliconed all of these in place. Water has to travel up over this. It can't go any further, so it has to come down, around, and like this. Bubble free on this side, because bubbles cannot go down. Bubbles obviously rise to the top. So this is a bubble wall. So as water flows down through it, all the bubbles at the micro bubbles are going to get trapped here. They're going to burst at the surface and not be able to go through underneath to the return pump. Now, of course, in the racking systems, I don't have a tremendous amount of space because I'm going to have 2 different types of aquariums on 2 different methods of filtration, with only the space to run one type of filter. For example, all the rest of these aquariums are both run on the same filter, taking up the entire bottom space of the aquariums. But I only have half the space the other ones do to construct some sort of a filter, so I come up with this, and I think this is going to do fine until we upgrade. Now to switch this out, I'm going to do a big water change on this aquarium, drain this sump, and that will be an easy switch. I'll pull this one out, transfer everything into the new sump, and install that, fill the tank back up, we're good to go. To do my water changes on the saltwater system for now, I fill up this big Rubbermaid barrel with about 30 gallons, 40 gallons of water, and then I mix my salt into it. The salt is here. I have a little container, and I figured out that 12 of these gives me the salinity I need in here, which I've shown you guys before how I check it with the refractometer. So water changes are pretty simple. Once I'm ready, I drain some of the water from the main aquarium, and then I just pump this in with a pump and a long hose, and fill it back up. It's to the temperature I need it to be, and the salinity matches the main aquarium. Again, this is just temporary. I'm starting off by draining the sump. I just have a small pump in there, pumping this down the drain, and then I'll be able to pull this right out. So the old sump is now removed, and we have everything set up in the new sump. If you guys remember how everything is set up, we have these filled with, the first two are bioballs. I went with bioballs because these are an immerged section, meaning the water level is going to be below here. So above it, I wanted to have media designed for that. All these containers below it, though, are filled with marine pure bioballs, but look just like this. This is one of their 8-inch blocks, I think it is, 8 or 10-inch blocks. 8-inch, so it's 8 inches by 8 inches by 4 inches. So this here is biological filtration. Then we have a bunch of chemical filtration. We've got some Chemi-Pure and activated carbon, as well as some Purigen down here. So cramped quarters, but everything is fitting in just fine. Then of course we have the skimmer and then the return pump, and you guys remember we're using the Ecotech Vectra M1 return pump, and that's actually the same pump we use for all of the returns on these systems. So in you go. Hopefully it'll fit. We're doing it front to back just because it's a space saver. Take this skimmer cup off. Now I'm going to have to cut this a little bit, make some minor adjustments here and there. I can still easily access everything, so that's a bonus. And make adjustments to the skimmer, plus be able to actually see it. Clearly I've got to do a better job of my cable tidying up, but I gotta attach this pump. Now we do a water change. So the sump's now up and running, and it has been for a few weeks. Let's take a closer look at it. Okay, so it's gonna be kind of difficult to see in here simply because it's dark and I'm just gonna use this little light. But as you can see, in the back here, the water comes down this hose, goes through the media baskets like I showed you previously, and then of course has to go through the marine pure and all the chemical media. The skimmer's over on that side as well. And then the water's simply returned. Now, the only reason I made this sump, like I said, was to have a bubble wall. Let me show you how it works. So as you can see, that skimmer's producing a massive amount of bubbles, and a lot of them escape the skimmer. And if I didn't have this bubble wall here, they would escape into the pump section and simply be returned to the aquarium. But the bubble wall, as you can see, water has to overflow over the top. It has to go down all the way to the bottom, and the bubbles aren't traveling with it, or at least for the most part. Some will escape to the side, as you can see, but it's not enough to cause an issue in the main aquarium. But that's essentially it. So for like 20 bucks, we got a 20-gallon aquarium. Took us about 5 minutes or less to actually build this, and toss it underneath the stand, and it's taking up 75% less space than the previous sump did. However, I am losing water volume by about 10 gallons, 20 gallons, but that's fine. Technically, this is just a temporary setup. We will be moving the fish to a 180-gallon system with a much larger filter. I just wanted to take this opportunity to show you guys a really basic way that you can put together a sump for a saltwater system. The saltwater hobby doesn't have to be that complicated, and I know that a lot of freshwater hobbyists want to transition over to saltwater, but always so worried about where to start and how complicated it might be and expensive and etc. And I totally agree with you as well. However, once you are in the saltwater hobby, you realize how much of your knowledge from freshwater truly transfers over to saltwater. I mean, there's still the nitrogen cycle and the same type of rules apply. So I don't know, I hope that these saltwater videos that I'm making you, especially, just having some cool fish and whatnot, just simply gets you more interested and potentially inspired to start up your own little saltwater aquarium and enjoy that world with me as well. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and for those in New York, I'll see you soon, and for those in Toronto, I will see you guys soon as well. If you are in Canada though, you've got plenty of time to book tickets, flights, buses, trains, start walking, whatever you want to do. Without you guys, these things simply cannot continue. If nobody shows up, I'm not going to keep putting on shows, and then I'm not going to get to meet you guys. So if you don't show, it's your fault.